Hi everyone, this is Britt Simon. As some of you will have seen, announced on Twitter just in the last hour or so, the government have filed a document. Let me just check on that document. Let's see. Let me just show you this. Actually, this would be better. Sorry, 1 second. I'll just show you this this document itself. Okay. Oh. Okay, hang on a second. So this is breaking news. Judge Curtis Morrison is saying that. So I'll have to read this. So Judge Mehta has issued an order. This is Judge Mehta on the Gomez case, saying that the relief is granted in part and denied in part. I've explained to everyone before that the judge would normally try and split the baby. So Curtis is reading and processing it now. So we'll have to see. Basically, the order will say something like relief is granted and denied in part. Granted in part and denied in part. We'll have to wait for a few minutes to see what comes of that. But that's probably going to happen literally while I'm online here. So, and the other thing that I want to show you is this is very much something that's happening now. And let me just see here. I want to show you something else. Yeah, this is the bit I want to show you. So let me show you this. Let's share my screen. Okay, I'm gonna share this. Okay, so this is the statement from Curtis's Twitter feed. This is a few minutes ago. Okay, so Curtis, in the last few moments, literally last couple of minutes, has said that Judge Mehta has issued a ruling. So this is in addition to the ruling, but this particular filing was a filing by the government saying that they've issued NIEs, national interest exceptions, to all of the DV 2020 cases up to February 28th, right? And if you were listening yesterday, this was what I supposed would be happening, what I assumed would be happening in a sense. But I think what's interesting here is if you look at this statement here, I'm hoping you're seeing this, and it says the Department of State is actively considering the use of additional national interest exceptions for individuals with valid diversity visas that cannot be used due to the proclamations. Okay, so that to me speaks to March expiring visas, right? So it is absolutely crystal clear, as I was discussing yesterday, the government are trying to do something to avoid the situation where people have got visas issued. Now, this is happening in addition to whatever Judge Mehta has ruled, and it's connected to the review that is happening, which has now been promised by the end of the month, right, by the government of the proclamations. And they've said the proclamations. They haven't specifically said Proclamation 10014, but they say the proclamations, which will be 10014, perhaps 10052, which is for non-immigrant visas, and perhaps the Schengen bans as well, depending on COVID controls being put in place currently. I would be surprised if they just removed the Schengen ban, but the national interest exception that was issued in the Netherlands embassy was a NIE granting exemption from 10014, 10143, which is the extension, and the Schengen bans, right? So, these NIEs are sufficiently powerful to remove the need for someone to do the 14-day quarantine. You will have to do some COVID testing and prove that you're COVID free, etc. But that's happening too. Okay, so So there you go. That's what's happening, and we can watch over the next few minutes to see what's going to happen. With the filing by Judge Mehta. It's actually oh, good morning, Dennis Lynn from Australia. It's good to see you. So it's tomorrow already. I'm going back to the future. Um, yeah, it's certainly interesting to see this news. Great news, obviously, for DV 2020 visa holders. We have some other things to do, right? There are, no doubt there are people going to be concerned about DV 2021, about the rest of the Gomez cases, the situation for the remaining 9,000 plus visas or whatever we can get. So there is some good news. So yeah. Bazaba, I said to you yesterday I could help you with your stuff. I'm not sure whether you were one of the people that emailed me. I got loads of emails today, predictably, and I'm not sure whether you are one of those people that I offered to help yesterday. If it's still relevant, please let me know. What roughly, don't give your precise email address, but tell me roughly which email address you'll be writing from if you write to me in this chat. But please say something, right? So the good news to your question is that yes, the government are showing by their actions that they are trying to help people who've got valid visas at the moment. There will be some people who had visas expire in February prior to this news, and I'm not sure what the position will be for those people yet. We have to continue with with the cases to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens there, right? We're also going to watch very carefully what's reported by Curtis Morrison over the next few minutes. He's reading the judgment, right? Now this will not be the judgment for the whole case, the whole Gomez case. This is going to be a judgment in relation to how do we protect the DV 2020 visa holders, okay? So again, just set your expectation there. Okay, let me see if I can answer some questions. I'm thinking this should be fairly clear to most of you, but there may be some questions here to just go over. So let's see if there really are some questions here. Maria was waiting for my live today. Okay, so yeah, that's good. Right, some orders undercooking now, Britt. I'm not sure what that means, what undercooking, but let me know what you mean by that. Hello, sir. I noticed that scanned documents file name contains 2 PDF file names. Will it be a problem sent in September? You got to be very careful, Rafat, with your documents that you're sending in on DV 2021. You have to make sure that the documents are clear. It isn't precisely, it doesn't matter precisely how you name them. In my blog, I give some suggestions on how you can name them, but it doesn't matter precisely how you do it. It doesn't matter if you duplicate one document to an extent. It doesn't matter if you do that, but you need to make sure you provided everything. And this really concerns me. This document thing really concerns me. People seem to screw it up all the time. And I can't believe it's only KCC that are to blame for people not getting their documents processed. I believe there must be some element of mistakes being made. And certainly when people have asked me to look at their package of documents, within a couple of minutes, I can see what they've missed. And it's typically police certificates. People believe they only have to send the police certificate for their current country. That's not true. They might have to provide police certificates for other countries, and people just don't seem to understand this. So I will specifically do a video about how to form your document package, because within a very short time, within a week or two, we're going to need to get proactive and start sending in document packages. Okay. So yep, the update, I saw that on Curtis's tweet. Obviously the lawyers have got the decision. We don't have that yet, or I don't have that yet. We have to wait until Curtis or one of the other lawyers publishes that to be able to see it, and then we'll see what Curtis thinks is the decision, see what he thinks of the decision. Okay, when do you expect the final decision? I expect that to be at least a month from now, probably more, right? I think we need to start thinking in terms of April before we get a final decision on Gomez. There is an order from Meta. Yep, absolutely. We'll wait. We'll hear what that is. Please tell them to inform the airline companies too. Yeah, this I saw. I saw Curtis was having trouble with Border Patrol officer in Mexico City, or rather an airline in Mexico City, and then lack of cooperation from CBP in the USA. I've said to people, you need to be proactive about getting. It may not matter now. We may get some sort of blanket statement. We may get better cooperation from CBP, but if you were not subject to the bans because you had your visa prior to April 23rd, then frankly, if you'd have spoken to me, I'd have said get written proof of that from the embassy. Don't assume that the airlines are going to know what the hell is going on. That's daft. So, the fact that somebody turned up at the airline and went through that frustration is frankly annoying to me. I don't know why that was allowed to happen. That person should have got documentation in their hand from the embassy or from the legal team, etc., to explain to the airline, because the airlines don't know shit, right? They don't know anything. They're not sitting here watching Twitter, learning about the proclamations. You need to explain to them. So yeah, excuse my language, but honestly, that just drove me nuts today. It's like, and well, whatever. That just seemed utterly avoidable to me. G'day from West Australia, Simon. Thank you, Flares. Did you like my Australian accent? I can do a Kiwi one as well. Yes is the way I do a Kiwi accent. I just changed the way I say yes. Hi, Britt. I moved to the USA last year, DV 2020 via DV. Then concluded adoption papers for my son who's in Africa. How soon can I file from him? So you'd need to file an I-130 case, which is not my area of specialization. But my understanding is that you need to have adopted someone at least 2 years earlier for US immigration law to consider that adopted child as being your child, right? So you need to have adopted them 2 years earlier, right? So you're going to have to wait for some time, I would imagine. If you've only done this in the last year, you're going to have to wait for at least a year and then go through an I-130 process. But if I were you, I would actually, I would see a lawyer about that. You can probably do an I-130 yourself, but I think it's wise, particularly with an adoption, any sort of complication, make sure you speak to a lawyer about that to get help. Lolly, just want to know if the embassy can send me an NIE by email, knowing that in March I would be in another country outside Schengen. You're in Sweden, I think, aren't you? I think you're in Sweden, somewhere like I've spoken to you before, I believe. It doesn't make sense to go back to France and fit the 14 days there. So these NIEs are going to get around the Schengen bans, right? So you don't need to worry so much about the Schengen bans, I believe, and I'm saying that based on the Netherlands NIE that was issued in the last day or so. That also exempted the person from the Schengen area ban. But this whole thing of the embassy sending the NIE by mail, yes, there will be an email conversation between you and the embassy, undoubtedly. But what the filing today from the government says is that people who are affected in the next week have already been helped, have already been contacted, have already been helped, should have been contacted by now. If that isn't the case, if you're sitting there with a valid visa that's valid today but expires in the next week, then let me know, let one of the lawyer teams know. If your clients are one of the lawyers, then certainly let them know, because what the government says is not always accurate, and we need to make sure that that is actually the case. So make sure you do that. But for people whose visas are expiring in March, I would say wait, just wait. I said yesterday I disagreed slightly with the lawyers, and they're much smarter than I am and much more au fait with the law than I am. But frankly, it was clear to me that the government are doing something yesterday. It was clear to me. And so right now, why just, why bog them down with paperwork and requests? It doesn't make sense to me. Although I do, like I say, hats off to the legal team. They know what they're talking about. They're suggesting that people should have been asking for NIEs. But it's clear today that the government are being proactive based on a list, based on a set of dates. That's what I was saying yesterday. They're being proactive. They're taking care of it. You don't need to be asking for NIEs. I think it's just a waste of time. So, but it will all be communicated through email. From the Honduras. Wow, that's cool. Welcome, Gorky. How can I know your email address, sir? Please don't email me. I'm so busy. I have a job. I have, my blog, and I do whatever I can. If there's any way you can ask me ask me questions via the blog, that's so much better, right? I can answer that question in public, and everybody benefits from that answer. And so for that reason, I ignore a lot of emails every single day. I ignore emails. So please don't email me, please. If you have to email me, it's only because you've legitimately got some private personal information that has to be shared with me, and you can't make it anonymous in any other way. And there's very few cases where you need that. Will it help J1s? We're talking about DVs. My area of interest is DVs. I don't know what's going to be happening for J1s. Many lawyers are working on that at the moment, and the discussion about the government reviewing the bans by the end of this week probably includes 100152. So that could help you as well. Hi to Dependra. Right, don't file an NIE. That's what I just said. Don't file an NIE at the moment. That's my opinion. If you want to follow the lawyer's advice, go ahead and do so. And you just ask. You just ask the embassy, can I have an NIE? But they're rejecting all of those. They're rejecting all of those requests at the moment, even though they're giving them to some people. But they are doing it from their end. This is my point from yesterday. The government are taking care of this from their end, based on the order and the prioritization of individual cases. And it will go one of two ways. There's either one or two things going to happen here. Three now with Meta's order. Maybe there's some help on Meta's order. So we'll see about Meta's order. But the government are helping people over the next week or so who would have their visas expire. So they're helping people. They're not just going to do that for February and then ignore the people in March. Come on, let's be sensible. That's obviously not the plan, right? That was clear to me yesterday, which is why, as I said yesterday, I hate making predictions, but to me, this was a pretty solid possibility, should we say. And so that's why I was predicting it yesterday. The other thing that will happen is that they're doing this for one of two reasons, right? They're either doing this because they feel that 10014 won't be removed in a week's time, but they're going to find a way to help the DV 2020 cases anyway, or they think that the 10014 is going to be removed at the end of February, and then they won't have to go through the process of granting individual NIEs to all of the March cases, right? It can only be one of those two things, and Meta, whatever Judge Meta has decided would be in addition to that. But from the government's perspective, they are obviously trying to take care of this, and it's very clear that one way or the other they're trying to keep the DV 2020 visa holders safe. Okay. All right. So let me just go back to questions. Hi, Nikki. You were on yesterday, weren't you? So are the consulates reaching out to people regarding NIE? Yes, I think they are. There won't be many. It's a handful of cases that are actually expiring in February. So they're helping. I mean, it's literally like half a dozen cases, right? So, but the statement is more important than the number of cases. The statement and the intention and the cooperation, if you like, or the obvious intention is the most important thing. It doesn't help people that had visas expire, in the last few days, right? And that will be an issue that the lawyers will continue to get resolution on. We'll have to see whether Judge Mehta's ruling helps with that. Okay. Can you explain how it works? Yep, I think you already answered that. Curtis just, yep, partial PI. Partial PI. Wow. Is that true? So let me see what Curtis is saying. That would be a partial PI for exempting people on DV 2020, I would imagine. Let's see what he's saying. Issued an order, government has made a filing, not received notice, blah, blah, blah. So where's his bloody tweet? I want to see. I can't see it, but if that's what he's saying, I wonder whether that's your terminology or his. That would be significant. A partial PI or a PI, an injunction, that would be significant, but let's see. Thank you, Genty. That's kind of you to say so. Thank you for the tons of energy you invest, or the tons of energy you invest in DV. You're welcome. And thank you for noticing. Is it a good sign that applicants who have valid visa? Yes, of course it is. I think I've made that clear. It's clearly demonstrating intent by the government, by the administration, to do something. And we're talking about, when I say the government, we're talking about the Department of State, who control the embassies, etc., outside of the US. The USCIS control immigration inside the US, if you like, adjustment of status and that sort of thing. Immigration matters inside the US. Outside the US is the area that Department of State deals with, and it's Department of State based in Washington who were cooperating with the Netherlands embassy to get the NIE for the person that was granted yesterday, and would have done the other few NIEs that have been granted, right? And then there's cooperation between them and the government lawyers, so that the government lawyers can be filing this information. There's contact going on between all of those things. Now, as I said yesterday, the lawyers are going to continue their arguments. Please don't be surprised at this. They're going to continue arguing in all sorts of cases, the Chen case and the Annunciata. They're going to continue to argue because that's their job. They're paid arguers, right? They're going to argue. They're going to try and win their case. I did debating. It won't surprise some of you to learn. I'm a pretty good debater. And if you do a debate, you should be able to you should be able to argue either side of an argument. You should be able to make a case from either side, whether you believe in it or not. Okay, and that's what they do. So don't be surprised when you continue to hear them being aggressive and argumentative, etc. It's all part of what they're supposed to be doing. It's part of their job. So what do you do now? You just wait. People in March, wait. Naturalizations, I don't know. I've applied for my own naturalization. I have no idea when that's going to start. Wait and see. Funny story about that, Karine. I was eligible to apply for naturalization under about a year and a bit ago. And I didn't do that because that would have meant having paperwork signed under the Trump administration, and God forbid I would have on my wall a naturalization certificate with Trump's silly bloody signature. I would not have wanted that. And so I delayed my application until I was pretty sure that Trump was going, which was sort of September, October time. I think I filed about that time. What about the visa expiring on March? Yep, wait, please, just wait. Namaste. How can DV 2020 visa holders move to the US after Meta's order of injunctive relief? Okay, hang on. Let's wait and see what Curtis and the other lawyers are saying about the order. But it's clear that things are getting sorted out, right? Yeah, that's the same question. The decision is great. You were on yesterday, Isra Svensk. I'm not sure which decision you mean, whether it's Curtis's or if somebody is seeing what Curtis is saying that I'm not, for some reason, I'm not seeing what he's saying about this. Just tag me in that, would you, so I can see it pop up on my Twitter feed? I'd be grateful. Okay, Benjamin. DV 2021, your work in London is wanting to use my DV visa to bring me to your US office. Okay. They could have done an L1, intercompany transferee, but anyway. They're drawing up a job offer. Can my job lawyers help me in any way to get an interview sorted if they don't send 2NLs OC 600? I think you've asked me this before, Benjamin. The answer is no, they can't help it in any way. And it's not that sort of a case. You know, the fact that you got a job offer is interesting to an extent, but it doesn't give you any priority or any particular advantage in your DV case. If you were doing a job based visa, that would be a different matter, but no, it doesn't help you. Just a bit more patience. You got a low case number, you know, you should be okay. Okay, so there's a little bit more clue there, right? It has been published, says Pedro. Well, Pedro, you've changed your username. That's strange. I noticed a slight change there. You're Pedro. Now, where's the E gone? Please say something to give me strength. I'm already exhausted. The frustration is too much. Okay, go and do some yoga and have a cup of tea. I'll give you some strength. Curtis published the order. Awesome. Let's see. So let me see. Has he? I'm hoping he's also commented about what it means, or governments modifying. You know. Oh man, still can't see it. I don't know what's going on with my. Is it as a reply to his own thing? No, not seeing it. I'm not seeing the order that he's published. I don't know if I'm. I don't know what's going on. I'm not seeing that. It's frustrating as hell. I'm sorry about that, but okay. So eligible. No. See the order in courtesy street. Everyone's saying this. I'm the only person that can't see the bloody order apparently. So you know. Good morning from End. From End. My End. My wife got a passport before getting married to her legally, so she has to use her passport name, which is her family name. No, so if she got married to you and changed her name as a part of that process, then her new legal name is her married name to you, right? Her passport needs to be updated. And you, on the DS260, you include the new legal name as part of the name, and then in other names used, you include the maiden name for your wife. Okay. Public charge question. Public charge has always been involved in DV cases and all immigration cases, and it continues to be involved. There are conversations going on at the moment about DS5540, and you know the question mark over do you need to show health, health insurance at the interview. Because no interviews are going on now, I'm just leaving that whole question alone, and just, you know, we'll wait and see what the position is when interviews are starting. So come back and let's talk about that when interviews are happening, but they're not happening right now, so it's an irrelevant question. Yep, I hope so too. Do I think that they will preserve visas for DV 2021 after the end of the fiscal year? I honestly don't know. That's 50-50 as far as I'm concerned. It's difficult. It's not easy. DV 2020 and the Meta case may set a legal precedent on which we can build for DV 2021. So, which is one of the other reasons I get pissed off with people when they say, "Oh, you're always talking about DV 2020 and not DV 2021." There is a connection between these two years, and a lot of the trailblazing and a lot of the legal work that's been done for DV 2020 will help DV 2021. I hope. So just hold your horses, and you know, just understand we're doing the best we can, right? Yeah, so you did miss it, and I think people expiring March will be fine. I think Simon is not seeing our messages from, he's answering someone else's messages. I am seeing these messages from Facebook. The messages from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter all come into one place so that I can see them all at once. So if you're entering questions, I'm seeing them. It's just there's a lot of questions, right? Accordingly, if proclamations are rescinded or expire without renewal, defendants shall treat all visas. This is obviously from the order. Is it, Mina? Thank you. Defendants shall treat all visas issued or renewed pursuant to Gomez as having been issued in. Okay, so they're going back. They're giving us nunc-pro-tunc. They're giving us. This is what the lawyers were asking for yesterday, but Meta has, I'm sure, crafted this in a way that gives the most flexibility. First instance, the date the proclamations are no longer effective. Yeah. So, and then does he give 60 days beyond that? We'll see. But I think the government are going to try and solve this a different way than that, actually. But we'll see. I have to wait and see, Mina, to actually read and properly understand that. I can imagine what that section you're pasting there is alluding to. But I think that it might go a little bit differently. We'll have to see whether 10014. But thank you for posting that, Mina. I appreciate it. You haven't seen it from all the social medias you're done. No immediate relief, just more waiting. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yes, it is. So, Mina, it's more waiting, but it's more protection. What Meta was trying to get to yesterday, was it yesterday now? What he was trying to get to was offering protection without compromising the validity of any visas valid now. He was trying to preserve and protect visas for a longer period of time, depending on what the government does. So he is, we would say, hedging the bets, right? He is trying to protect things from both ways, I would imagine. If what I've just read means what I think it means, and I'd have to read the whole order to understand that, then he's trying to protect it both ways. So that's a good thing. Just relax, it's fine. You're all going to be okay for DV 2020 visa holders. You're going to be okay, and I believe the lawyers are also going to be able to reclaim some of the expired visas, etc. We'll have to see how that works. But some of them, we'll have to see how that works. But the March people, you're going to be okay, and February people obviously are. Second, the court's order shall not apply to DV 2020 plaintiffs whose visas will expire or are set to expire between February 17th and February 28th. So Meta has added that or responded to the filing from the government. So Meta is right on it, I tell you. So, he is doing the best possible thing he can. He is basically saying to the government, you either protect the March lot, I mean, the February lot you say you've covered, okay. And you say that the government are going to review and do something, they're reviewing the proclamation, okay. But if you don't, then the March lot are going to be protected. That's what Meta, I think, is saying. That's really good. Meta is, he's good. It's very good. This is a big question, Emmanuel. When will they be reopened? It's not just when they're reopened, it's when they will see DV lottery cases as a part of it's called the diplomacy strong. It's their sort of code word, if you like, diplomacy strong level of operation. They've got 3 different levels, and in the different levels, they don't, until they're fully open, they won't see DV cases. That's why we need emergency designation or mission critical designation for DV lottery, and that's why Annunciato is going to continue to be on topic here, right? So Meta's order for DV 2020 shows a very good intention by the lawsuits, by the legal arguments, and that will help us in some of the other cases. The lawyers will use that in Annunciato to persuade Seaborg to take the same sort of legal path, if you like. But all this has got to just play out, right? You've got to be patient. I've said a million times, wait and see. You've just got to be patient. And I know it's nerve-wracking, but you've just got to, be patient. And it won't. Let me just go back here, Emmanuel. I can't promise everybody that everybody's going to get happy. I actually don't think that's going to be the case. I think some people are going to be disadvantaged this year, as some people in DV 2020 will be. I don't think we're going to get everything we want. This isn't Christmas, right? but we'll do the best we can. That's all we can do. You know, and the 6,000 people that got their visas in September last year were saved by an enormous effort by, you know, by the lawyers, by Judge Mehta, by the embassies, particularly, and to some extent KCC. And so, you know, we'll build on that, right? But that's the second part of the order that's denied. So that bit's the only part that's denied. If that's the denial bit, then frankly, that's not a denial at all, because that's brilliant, right? So I'm keen to see Curtis's perspective on this now. Let's see. Thank you, Dr. Tal Pet Doc. I think you just you have. Greg Siskin put it in there. Thank you, Dr. Tal Pet Doc, for giving me that. So I've now got that. I can show. That. Thank you. Share screen. This might be interesting to some of you. I'm just going to scroll through this fairly quickly, but it's under Greg Siskin's account here. He's published it, and this guy Dr. Tal Pet Doc, who is a common commentator. I appreciate your efforts. Thank you for tagging me on that. So here's the order, and I think it was just telegraphed by our friend there. Plaintiff. Okay, let's get down to the order. Resist this conclusion. This is in every order. The judge has to sort of describe the arguments made by both sides, and then through demonstration of law explain how the decision was arrived at and what justifications have been used, etc. So that's what that first bit is all about. And then at the end, it's going to say, and it is ordered. The court's order. Okay, so for the foregoing reasons, Proclamations is granted in part and denied in part, as I said earlier. Right, shall treat all visas issued or renewed pursuant to Gomez 1. This is all the visas issued in September, as having been issued in the first instance on the date that the court renders its final judgment in this action. Final judgment is what we're going to wait for in March or April, right? So this is, but then there's caveats, right? The court's order contains two caveats, and this is, I'm sure, going to be important. First, in the event the proclamations are rescinded or expire without renewal on or before March 31st, great. Challenge to the proclamations will become moot. The court will then no longer have jurisdiction over those claims. Brilliant. Well done, Mehta. You found a way to split the baby. He's going to take out his own order by removing jurisdiction. Brilliant. Love it. And the relief under the All Writs Act would no longer be necessary. Brilliant. And I think Chuck Cook nailed it the other day when he pointed out, I think it was yesterday, I lose count of the days now, but Chuck Cook pointed out that there was a line of questioning that York bungled, where Mehta already had an answer, and he asked what would happen if he did nothing. Would it, what would it mean for the selectees with visas? Would they lose jurisdiction? Would they lose standing? It was an incredibly important part of the discussion, and York made the wrong answer. Firstly, Mehta came back and said, "No, well, here's what I believe. I think they would lose standing." Right? That's his position here, that they would lose standing, and he would not do that. I mean, and Curtis Morrison had cleared that up, if you like. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't make things worse for people. So yeah, it would no longer be necessary. Accordingly, if the proclamations rescinded or expire without removal before, yeah, fine, yeah. Second, the court's order shall not apply for DV2. Yeah, and that second bit is added because of the notice. There you go, notice on recent actions. That's because of that. That's the best possible win that we could have had, right? And this is specifically only for DV 2020 people. That's the way to split the baby in the most advantageous way possible for everybody. It protects, you're all protected. That's it. You've won, right? If you hold the visa, you're done. You're good. right? There will be some continued conversation about people whose visas expired in the last few days, right? And there are a few. There are, I think, about 10, 12 visas or so. But the remainder of the 6,000, the people in February are covered by, what the government has done. The people in March will be covered by this if the order is not rescinded. But if the order is rescinded, then they're free to go anyway. They're free to enter anyway, and they'll be, or they'll be given NIEs by the government proactively as they have been doing. So one way or the other, you're okay, you're fine. This is good news. Okay, let me stop that screen. Let me scroll down, see if this makes sense. Can someone just confirm to me that this is actually making sense to you, or is there questions that you have about that? I don't know. But basically, you can see it's a positive result. Please, all hope lost for those who won DV 2020 with some cases at AP and got their interviews cancelled. Those people, Frank, have to wait for the final outcome in Gomez. And we can see the attitude of Judge Mehta. He's trying to help and he's trying to resolve things. His stance in September and August, when we had those court cases going, was that he couldn't stop the president banning entry, but he was trying to do something to force the government departments to operate and do what they're supposed to do, to issue visas. And then he was unclear whether he could do something later, but he preserved 9,095 visas in order to make sure that those people weren't going to be disadvantaged later. And we have to try and get more than that. That's clear to us all. We'll continue to fight that. The lawyers will continue to fight that. But if it ends up that only 9,000 visas get sorted out, your situation, assuming that whatever was causing your AP is now resolved, you're at the embassy, your case is at the embassy, and you'll probably be one of the first people to get one of those 9,000 visas. So that's likely with how it will go, but we'll have to wait and see. And it's not 100% certain that we will have permission to get those 9,000 visas. So you need to just hang on and wait for the final hearing. But you can see Judge Mehta is a fair and decent man. He's a very good judge. And whilst we haven't agreed with everything he's decided, and I know Charles Cook has talked about that. I mean, he's doing what he can within the boundary of the law, I believe. Anyway, right. So Yvonne, just wait. You're going to be okay. Just wait. Right. Any news about DV 2020 for winners MVC status or visas reservation? What will happen? Again, you'll just have to wait until the Gomez case is final, right? Which will be, think of that as being in April. It's not going to be before April, I don't think. Wow, it's late, ladies' chocolate. Over here, it's 4:49. I must be 15 minutes behind on these questions. Okay, Judy, glad to see you're on. You have a strong feeling that these NIE are happening because the ban is being lifted at the end of the month. Yeah, that's what I was saying yesterday, Jules. That's one possibility, and the other possibility is that they have to go through March giving NIEs. But I think I agree with you. I think that they believe the ban is going to be lifted, and therefore won't have to do the additional paperwork and the additional exercise of going through nearly 6,000 visas and giving individual NIEs all the way through. So I agree with you. That would be my most likely bet. But regardless now, particularly with Mehta's order, but also with the actions of the government, showing that they've helped those few people. It's only a handful of people they've helped, with February expiry dates. But the point is, if you're the government, you can't do things fair for this person and unfair for that person if they're in the same position. So it was obvious once they started doing that they would have to continue to take care of the March people, which is why I was saying yesterday, just, relax. Okay. So if you're from Saudi Arabia, visa is 2020, airport is closed until May 17th, then you're going to have to find another way out of there, right? Somebody was saying to me earlier, what about people that have problems that they can't travel? Well, find a bloody way to travel. I know it's going to be tough, but you don't get a green card every day of the week. This is a once in a lifetime event. Find some way, get some permission to travel, do whatever you have to do, right? I'm sorry it might sound tough, but this isn't a hair appointment we're talking about. You need to work this out. No, it's not KCC who update the visa bulletin, it's the visa office, but KCC are informed of the numbers. I haven't seen the visa bulletin issued today. It probably will be issued next week, I imagine. Yeah. On Twitter, yeah, just talked about it. Second letter, blah, blah, blah. Is it a good decision from Meta? Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant decision. Brilliant in terms of it's very good news for us because it offers protection, and it's also a very clever way of wording things. He did extremely well. Why Bangladeshi people can't apply for the DV lottery? Because there's too many of them already coming. Same for India, same for Brits, right? Brit Simon. The Brit in Brit Simon means I'm British, if you can't tell my accent. And I would not have been able to enter the lottery either, because more than enough English people, British people, already come to the USA on various other visas, and they get immigration, into the USA. And for the same reason, Bangladeshis are banned, and so are Indians and Chinese people, etc. And they're all banned because it's the diversity lottery, not the frickin' everybody lottery. It's for countries that are not overrepresented. It's for the other countries. So sorry, Bangladesh, it's not for you, and it was not for me either. But I happen to be married to a Spanish lady, and that's how I got in. Right. So go and marry a Spanish lady. Okay, Pedro, thank you. Visums should be treated as issues then. Don't know what that means. Visas should be treated as issues. No, I don't know what that means. Synthesia, welcome back. Yep, that's the update. Yep. They don't have standing. They don't. So they don't have standing because they've been helped, right? That's okay, Gap Lifer. That's okay, because you don't have standing when you don't have an argument anymore, right? They've been helped. They've got nothing to complain about. You see the point? So that's okay that they don't have standing. That's fine. That's fine because they've been covered. Yes, it's Sander. Ernestina. When will the march? I don't know. In the next few days. What do you prefer to drink, more whiskey or rum? Neither one, to be honest. I drank so much whiskey when I was a kid, about 17 years old, that I can almost not bear the smell of whiskey now. And rum, yeah, just not ever got into rum apart from Spanish rum, which is laced with honey. I like sweet drinks, apparently. Nothing personal indeed. Don't know what that meant. Please, thank you, sir. Brit, all visas issued state can be treated. Yeah, that's just. Yeah, that's okay. I've explained that. You're crying, Angela. Don't cry. Thank you for those kind words. Andrew says there's breaking news, but the way you spelled it is where you break a car, right? So I get what you're saying. Second letter isn't coming, sir. Yeah, I know. DV 2021. Nobody's getting second letters, right? You have to wait. We're still working on that. Hi, Mum. Yeah. Are you calling me Mum? Jeez. Why Bangladeshis can apply. Really love you, Brits. That's lovely. Yeah, no, I've done that, so I'm fine. I read through. I know everything I need to know about that now. But yeah, I'm probably a few minutes behind. I need to go faster on these questions. Yeah, partially granted, partially denied. The bit that was denied is a non-issue, so it's a full win. It's 100% win. So it's good. You're okay. You will be okay, right? So you're joining late, 4:52. Yeah, you just asked that question. So you're going to be okay. So March issuances are now protected by an order by Meta. They're being protected by actions that the government is taking on February visas, and there's a possibility of the proclamation being rescinded next week anyway. They've said they've committed to the review completing actions being taken by the end of February. the end of February is February 28th, which is a Sunday. So actually February 26th will be the day, the deadline, if you like, for them to come to good with their promise, but they've made that commitment. So one way or the other, you're going to be taken care of. You just need to be patient now and just wait, and we'll see how exactly that happens, right? You've got 4 weeks, over 4 weeks of validity on your case anyway. It'll be interesting for the people in Schengen area, by the way, because depending on we may need NIEs for people in the Schengen area. If, for example, they revoke 10014 next week, but they don't revoke the Schengen ban, then there will be people that will need to get NIEs on the Schengen ban. But we've already got precedent for that from the other cases, the one issued in the Netherlands. So, you know, if we get to that situation in a few days' time, which will be clear in a few days' time, then we'll figure out what we can do about that. And I believe those will be okay as well. We'll get an NIE exception for the Schengen area bans, right? Am I using Zoom or Google Meet? I'm using StreamYard. Charles Cook hasn't published anything in his Twitter. He must be drinking some whiskey. Yeah, I think he's been having a day off. Good, you know, good luck to him. He's been working hard. They have all been working hard. So let him take a day off. That's fine. Applicants who had a visa, they're able to enter. Well, okay, that's not quite true. Are they? They are able. No, you're saying they are able. If you're asking a question, they're not able to enter today. They need to wait for a few days, right? Because the February people have been taken care of. The March people need to wait for a few days and just see, you know, see what happens. Ivan, I think, didn't you ask me this question? I explained. So you can see the congressman. You can go for an appointment at the embassy. You've got not the embassy, the field office. You can go to the field office. You can ask a congressman. There are things that you can do. But Ivan, I think I've pointed you at someone's mum in the forum, the immigration forum. She is the expert on all things DV related adjustment of status. She's the absolute expert. I would trust her more than I would trust some of the lawyers. Some lawyers, not particularly our lawyers. I think they know what they're doing, but most lawyers don't have a freaking clue about DV lottery processes and have screwed up so many cases. I can't tell you. For adjustment of status, just a joke. Religious marriage with F11 status, can I don't know. I'm sorry, I only focus on DV lottery. Visa bulletin was not out today. Maybe they're waiting for the ban to revoke by next week. No, they're not waiting for that. It's been late for a few months. For almost a year, they've been publishing the visa bulletin late. Don't know why. You're welcome. Raphael has just tweeted an explanation. Yeah, hopefully he's saying the same thing I am. I'm interpreting it correctly, I would imagine. Can you now buy airline tickets per DV 2020 visa holders expiring March? Please, Pony, wait. Just wait for a few days, okay? Don't run around like headless chickens is my phrase. This is good news, but we need a few days to figure out exactly what your position will be. Just wait, okay? Who is this lady who can help with the change of status? Okay, that is Forum of Immigration. Let me just. I'll give you a thread. So this is a lady who I know personally. I've met her personally. So this Tatake is a link for you. Go to that link. It's specifically about it, DV related adjustment of status. And the very first post in that thread has a link to a spreadsheet with a full explanation of how you adjust status and for DV related cases. And the person who wrote that post, someone's mum, it's called someone's mum. I'll put this, someone's mum. People mistake us. I'm just posting that too. She's an absolute expert on DV related adjustment of status. I took her advice back in 2014 and used her methods, as it were, but she helps hundreds of people every year and has been working on this for years and years and years. She's brilliant. There's also another user in that same forum called Susie Q. Again, I know her personally, and the two of them fantastic people. And again, like me, they were both DV 2013, and like me, they just want to give back, so they provide all this help for free. Brilliant people. If interviews start in April, they won't. They won't start in April. How many visas do you think they will issue for DV 2021? Right, they won't start in April because February, March, April, yeah. So April interviews are normally scheduled in February, and they're not going to schedule any interviews in February. So we're going to lose April. So we'll actually have March, April, we're going to have May, June, July, August, September. We're going to have 5 months. At maximum speed, the embassies and KCC can organize around about 5,000 or 6,000 issued visas a month at maximum speed, and I don't think we're going to be at maximum speed. So in 5 months, they can maybe do 20,000 visas, right? So we're not going to see all the visas issued unless we can have an extension of time. I can see that. Did my link go through? Yeah, hopefully it went through. Yes, it did. Good. If the ban is lifted by, here we go. If the ban is lifted by the end of the month and we attempt to cross the border the next day, will border officials, for God's sake, don't, Emilio, just give them a couple of days. Like when the government makes up their mind to do something, it takes a couple of days for that to filter through. Don't try and enter the next day. Don't do that. People that plan to do the January 1 thing, that was unwise, frankly, and it bit some people in the butt. There's no need to do that. This isn't going to change the following day. They're not going to change their mind. You don't need to try and rush through the border the day that, the first day you're able to, because you're just going to give yourself hassle and pain and anguish. Just relax and wait for a few extra days, unless you absolutely have to for some reason. I spoke to someone who has got a March 1st start date of his job, and I said, look, just delay it for a week. Most employers will delay it for a week or 2 weeks or whatever. So that's the best thing. Don't cause yourself the extra grief. It's just daft. That's me. Thank you for your answer about PP 9645 yesterday. I really appreciated. So we have relation with Gomez case in 9095. How old is case Gomez? So you were denied. You're a DV20. My understanding is you're a DV 2020 case, right? And if you're not, then this comment isn't for you. But I think you're a DV 2020 case that was banned and denied under 9645, the Muslim ban. So if in a normal year the visa allocations end on September 30th, you can't continue the case after September 30th. But in DV 2020, the Gomez case, a lawsuit brought under the name of Gomez, but including lots of people, protected the rights of all DV 2020 cases, got some things going in September, but also set aside meaning reserved or preserved, 9,095 visas. So there may be, and it depends on the final hearing, the final outcome of the case. But if Judge Mehta decides that yes, he's going to go ahead and order the government to use those 9,000 preserved visas, then cases such as yours, which were denied for the Muslim ban, could be among those cases. You'll have to move quickly. You'll have to be prepared and be ready. So for God's sake, if you're interested in getting a visa, start paying attention to the things I'm saying here and the information I'm giving out. Make sure you're reading my blog, because you're going to be getting information and you need to be prepared. Because what will happen is the visas, the 9,000 visas, if that's all we get, they'll go quickly and you'll miss your chance if you're not paying attention. Okay, so start paying attention. Susie Q is a troll, and the guy that nobody really likes is an idiot. If you think that someone who's been dedicating their time for 7 years helping people, without any fees or anything else is a troll, then you're a flippin' idiot, right? That's really who you are. Just, stupid bloody comment, and no wonder you have that name, and obviously you're trolling, right? Idiot. Hello, what's up? Rewind. Kennedy, Eber. Most of my DV 2020 got second on September. You had, okay. Okay, Kennedy, that doesn't tell me anything other than you had an interview. Smiles Base just joined. Any news about DV Lottery 2020? It is news for people who hold DV visas already. It's all about DV 2020, but only the people with the visas already issued. Okay, then due to limited time, they may limit the 6 weeks notification and start in April. No, I don't believe they will. They will only do that if ordered by a judge. So if an Enunciato judge, Judge Siebel, says get on with it and use your best efforts and that sort of thing, then they might. And they did that in September. Judge Mehta ordered them to do that. But there's really no justification to do that now when we've got months to go. So I don't believe they'll do that. I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll wait and see. I had another one you might have missed. I'm sure I missed it, but you'll have to ask it again. Visa bulletin stuck. Yep, it's stuck because they're not getting the feedback loop of the consular processing. Expediting methodology for change of status applicants. Okay, that's the question. So you're first of all, with adjustment of status, you file early. You can't file before your case number is current. But that definition is when it's announced in the visa bulletin as being current in 2 months' time. So, for example, the visa bulletin we're about to see, which will be issued here in February, it'll be called the March visa bulletin, and it will concern cases that will become current for interviews in April, right? If you were in the country and you're doing adjustment of status and your number becomes current, therefore for April, and you see that in the visa bulletin issued in the next few days, then you can immediately, as soon as you see that number, you can file your I-485. Then later, there's ways to push your case, nagging the field office to push your case ahead. They used to have a more flexible appointment system. They've changed that, but there are still ways to do it. And ultimately, you can also get help from the congressman. All of that information is information that someone's mum, who I referred you to, knows better than I do. And because she's there and because she's so fantastic, I don't try and learn any of that. I leave that to her. She knows her stuff back and forth better than any lawyers I know. So go ahead and don't just ask her questions without taking the time to read the information she's already published on the link I gave you. Please don't do that. That's frustrating. Take a little bit of effort to learn about the situation, right? And then when you ask her questions, at least you've actually put some effort in. Emilio, welcome back. We should meet up once this nightmare is over. We absolutely should, Emilio. That'd be awesome. Concerning DV 2021, so you think people with case numbers over 20K are at risk? Everybody's at risk. While visa interviews are not happening, everybody's at risk. There's not a number. I can't pick a number and say you're safe below that number or you're at risk above that number, because nobody is getting interviews. Everybody is at risk. And that is why we continue to fight in the Enunciato case. And that's why I don't predict who's safe, who's not safe. Everybody's at risk. And that's the perspective, that's the mindset we've got to maintain to make sure that the lawyers continue to fight, which they absolutely will do. And that we fight for every single case we can get through. But fundamentally, even with 12 months of processing time, there are too many people selected in DV 2021, and 15 or 17,000 people were previously banned by Trump's order and made able to process their cases through Biden revoking the Muslim ban. That put at risk more cases. Okay, so it was the right thing to do. Of course, it was the right thing to do. I'm not complaining about what Biden did on that, but it means that high case numbers are more at risk. Okay, so you're welcome. Have a quick queue. Once we get the green card, do we have to declare taxes in the very first year, even if we don't have a job? So basically, Emilio, the day you enter is the first day. The day you enter the USA is the first day you're a US citizen. And whatever year that is in, you have to file a tax report for that whole year, right? So Susie Q, we were just talking about Susie Q. She entered the USA, I think, on like December 31st. I mean, it was literally about that. So she was a citizen for one day in that year, and therefore had to file a tax report in by the April of the following year, right? So if you enter the USA for even one day in this year, you'll have to file a tax report before April 15th of next year. There's a time when you do that. Now, if you have no income, you don't pay any tax. Obviously, if you have income abroad, that income abroad is generally under a level. There's about $100,000 level where you can earn up to $100,000 of foreign income and not have to pay taxes in this country, depending on the tax situation in the foreign country. It's a bit complicated, but basically you have to file a tax report, and that's essential that you do that every year, because you can be denied citizenship if you haven't done that. So you do that, but you won't necessarily have to pay taxes. Depends on your financial position and your assets outside the country and that sort of thing. America does tax on worldwide income, right? So that's the first principle, unlike any other country. So, for example, when I came to America, I had investments already in America, and it was well, I won't go into too much detail about that, but it created a bit of an odd situation, because I wasn't an American taxpayer as such. I was a UK taxpayer, but the UK don't expect tax on worldwide income. So there was tax I paid, but I paid it in America, even though I'm not a US taxpayer. It was weird. It was a weird situation. Sean, I hope you're well. We received a document request yesterday, to which we replied, good. Today we received the exact same request. Yeah, it's a simple glitch. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your case. It's just they're disorganized as heck. Honestly, I would love to go and work at KCC. I would sort them out in a heartbeat. The judge matter is final decision. No, it's the final decision related to DV 2020 visa holders, people who were issued visas in the September the 4th to September the 30th timeframe last year. Only those people. It just relates to them. Okay. Okay, Salman, I've been talking about this all video. I can't believe I've done an hour's conversation on this. I'm sorry. Actually, I got a great email from someone today. I'm not sure of the person's name online. I hope they're watching again. But I said yesterday, do I talk too fast, or is my British accent throwing off? And I got someone who commented today. It made me chuckle. They can understand my British accent, but they listen to my videos at 1.75 times normal speed. So I probably sound like a demented chipmunk, is what I answered. I must sound like a lunatic at fast speed. But I guess, yeah, that's the best way. I waffle on, so just listen to it fast. What a great idea. So this is Rafael Arena's comment. If you have a visa issued after 9/4, your visa will be treated as though it was issued on the date of the final decision from Meta if he finds the proclamation. Yeah, it won't disadvantage the March people. That's the point there. So it's a protection, not a disadvantage. Do you know if you can withdraw a DS280? I think you mean DS260. If you realize your number is not going to come up because we're currently on E2 visa, not for refund. No, you can't. You can't withdraw a DS260. The damage is done, which is why I say every bloody year, I say this to people, and every year I get people who don't listen. Don't submit your DS260 until you're sure that your number is going to be low enough, or that you know the situation. And obviously this year is a weird year, but unfortunately, no, that once the point at which you press the submit button on the DS260, you have declared immigrant intent, which can affect future non-immigrant visa applications. It doesn't mean you can't apply for a non-immigrant visa like an E2 or anything else, but it just makes it a little bit more difficult to explain that you don't have intention to emigrate to the US because you actually applied for an immigrant visa. Okay. No response from KCC after submission. DS260. If you're AS 7000, yeah, contact KCC and ask them. You haven't got a particularly high number, but just by all means, you can ask them whether you should submit your documents. Please, only good feelings today. No need to give attention to bad comments. Peace. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. One love, even idiots. Please link to read Judge Mehta's recent decision. Yep. Here's the link. Thank you to Tal for tagging me in that comment. So it's just coming in now. Should be seeing that in a moment. Right, last couple of questions, and then we'll call this a day, because I'm sure you all want to go and read that order, right? So let's see. I think, Ina, you asked this just as I was closing out the call yesterday. So let me answer this for you. Thanks for all your help. My brother is a DV 2021 winner living in the US with an asylum pending. Can he do AOS, or does he have to do consular process? Right. Up until about a year ago, I would have said without a doubt he can do adjustment of status and as a DV winner, right? But during the last year, there were a couple of rejections from a couple of field offices that I saw that were because someone was an asylum case, which is bullshit. It shouldn't happen. However, I would suggest you go read the information. Don't ask me about that because it's adjustment of status, specialized information. Ask someone's mum, the same link I gave earlier. Ask her for the current situation. She is the expert on that, right? Once you get your citizenship, make sure to write about the process on your blog, mostly about if someone has met the 5-year requirement but has also been out of the USA. Yeah, so the thing there, and I will do. Oh, it's you, the guy nobody likes. Yeah, okay, no, skipping past. What's the standard regular? Yeah. Hi Simon, received your cases, ready to schedule email, December 2020th, renewed your passport. No, not a problem. You renewed your passport, so take the old passport and the new passport to the interview. That's what you should do. I'm in COVID-free Australia. If Biden removes 10014 in February and my visa is valid until March 14th, would that be okay? You should be okay. But Taylor, there are travel restrictions from Australia. You actually, as I understand it, at least up until the last few weeks, you had to apply for permission. So make sure you're looking into that. Don't be surprised by that, because you are going to need to travel before March 14th, right? So, you know, make sure you're going to be able to get that permission. Oh, and then you're asking, do you think it's risky if you wait? Yes, you would be creating an unnecessary risk. The meta decision refers to the final order, right? The final order is not a guarantee that we win. So, you know, you are much better off taking your opportunities for all of you. For those of you with March visas, assuming that there hasn't been some sort of problem created by this meta decision, if you have the opportunity to travel in March, don't wait for the later dates, right? Use your visa before the expiry date. Don't gamble on the other thing. That's just a backup plan, right? That's just protection and a backup plan. And I'm sure the intention is to protect people no matter what. But nevertheless, take the opportunity you have. Don't gamble on silly things. My case is current and I have diversity visa. Sent my application in July, requested it, haven't heard back from them. Yeah, a lot of people haven't heard back, Murad. Depends on your case number, partly. It's a long time you submitted in July. That suggests to me that you've probably got a high case number and they haven't rushed to your case. You know, nobody is getting interviews at the moment. DS260 doesn't have a fee. No, it doesn't. You didn't F up with your DS260. There's no fee. Someone mentioned, you know, about that, but you know, good. I'm glad you understood. So there's no fees on submitting a DS260. I think this is my last question. So this is awesome. When you enter, are you getting given immediate approval to work? Yes, the green card is absolute authority to go start any work. You don't have to get any other visa or anything like that. You have the right to live and work in the USA. That's what a green card is. You don't need any other permission, Shan. All right, that's it. I got to the end of the questions. I'm sure there's another question about to pop in there. There it goes. And it's from Julie, so I've got to answer it. So, Simon, I met another wonderful DV 2020 today. We didn't have mojitos, sadly, but we had wine and came home with this amazing news. Great. So that's fantastic. I'm glad you're getting the positive news. So that really is my last question. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a good day. I've been feeling positive for a few days. We're getting there. Trust the process. It's been a bit of a shitty process, I know, but trust the rest of the process. People are working very hard to you. Great shout out to Curtis Morrison, Raphael Aronia, Chuck Cook, Greg Siskind, Jeff Joseph, that I forgot to tag on my post earlier, Jesse Bless, all the team at AILA. They have all worked their asses off for you. And, so thank goodness for the good lawyers. I've been doing this for years, as many of you will know, but I did not have the ability to do what the lawyers have done in terms of taking this case to the courts. So no matter what, I felt helpless until lawyers such as Jesse Bless and Curtis Morrison and Charles Cook, etc., got involved and used their skills to get this over the finish line, as it were, to get this argument happening. So, thank goodness for them. So they, far more than me or anyone else, are the real heroes here. So thank you, guys. Thank you to those lawyers. And Curtis, I'll buy you a beer when I'm in Southern California sometime very soon. All right. Okay, guys. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye now.